Yeah. Yeah, we live, ladies and gentlemen. We talk weeklies after the talk on WPPMLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We talk weeklies after the talk with your boy Charles Gregg and the beautiful.
Mars
And the
Sizzle.
beautiful.
Classy Lady Sparkle.
And we are here, y'all. We talk weekly. We are definitely in the building. Jam-packed show. And we got two dynamic interviews, which I can't wait. We have some good news and bad news. We got some sizzle. Let's see. I think we got some breaking news too. I seen something come across my phone, and so we could talk a little bit about that. But before we do anything, how was your day? How was your day?
I had a crazy day. I had to get a little house cleaning back done and bunch of stuff going on, but I'm super excited. This is the first time in a little while that we have all been back in the studio.
I said that.
Yeah, so I'm just excited about that.
Me too.
Yeah. So it's like just putting the icing on the cake of a great weekend. Shout out to Lady S. Dot for the Bridgerton wedding. Yeah, she just got married. So shout out to her. And today was a good day. Just say.
No doubt. What about you, Classic Lady? Holla at me.
Like Sizzle said, I'm recovering from that beautiful, gorgeous, amazing wedding. I was like, it's not even up. I said at one point it was up in my top 3. It's up in my top 2 in Lady S. One. Like I mean, if you've seen the details of what was on the plates and our names and the gold tags, and even when you left, like the cheesesteak, everything was gorgeous. Like a soloist, live band, like it was just gorgeous. It was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. So, I had a day. A day. I am going through a lot. My mother. It'll be a year next year that she's not been with us, and she left me property. And, a lot of stuff come out. They say weddings, speaking of Lady S. weddings and funerals.
Exactly.
Like a lot. Like, they say money don't change you, money reveals you. I feel the same way about those type of situations.
Absolutely.
Like, it's just crazy. So I've been dealing with some stuff with that. And I'm giving God grace with it, because I'm going to do what I need to do to protect myself. But at the end of the day, it's something that if it's in writing, and that's why a lot of people, when your loved ones are here, get a lot of stuff in writing. Make sure you have those conversations to say, hey, we need a living will. We need a power of attorney, a trust. All that stuff is extremely important. And I know you don't want to talk about it, but you have to, especially, not even if you're younger, not even if you're, my parents are still young. No, it still needs to be a conversation that needs to be had, especially when you have parents or family members who have assets.
Absolutely.
That's it, and that's all. You could become a beneficiary on their bank account. When I say beneficiary, it just means that any event something happens to them, they'll release all funds to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a form. Sign your name and that's it. Because guess what? You won't get that money. It'll be out there, and you're going to have to go through a whole lot of stuff just to get it. So, just sharing, y'all.
My mom, she works, well, she's retired now, but she was a stenographer for 30-something years, and she spent some time in orphans court, and then she was just talking about a lot of the fighting that goes on with families after the parent has passed away or something like that, and then the children are fighting, and so many different things happen. So she was just like, make sure same thing you said. She said everything you said, Barb.
Put it in writing. That's it. You can even make a video documentary. However, getting it in writing, because you need that notarized, date, that document notarized by a witness, 2 witnesses to be exact. But these are forms you can go right on Google and do. You don't even need lawyers anymore. Trust used to be like a big thing. You don't even need that. The verbiage is what you need. Copy and paste, put your family's information in there, and you're good to go.
What about the time they found that will from what's her name in the couch? From Aretha Franklin.
They found the will?
Yeah.
They found that, and then they decided based on that. And I think it was
Wow.
handwritten or something like that.
Yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah.
Wow.
And remember, what was it, Soul Food, when they found the money, Mama's money in the refrigerator,
Oh,
in
my
the
gosh.
TV, that Uncle Horace or something had.
Yes, Uncle Horace.
Yeah, Rufus. I forget his name, but it's just it's a example of. And honestly, I have stuff that's in place, but mine is not ironclad, and I need to do it. I don't need, because I'm a product of what that looks like, so I know better.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. See, how was your day?
Long. I'm super tired.
You was working
Working
yesterday.
yesterday. Shout out to Lady Estad in the building. Yeah, you know what I mean. Married, tied the knot.
Yeah.
I was unfamiliar. What was new to me was that pearl, kind of like that pearl. thing
Oh,
that
the
she did,
lace, the
Oh yeah.
the lasso.
knot.
The
Yeah.
lasso,
Yeah.
Lasso. Yeah.
I never heard of that before, so that was
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen them.
I think people do some really interesting things, to commemorate that next step, like jumping the broom.
The candles.
Yes.
Lighting the candles. It's sand. They do that one.
Yes.
They even muscle off when
they
you
step on a
yeah
rock.
they
Right.
stamp on the glass. There's a lot of different rituals
Right.
to make people that they put in to like you said, commemorate them and be as one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. So I think it was so cute. She looked gorgeous.
she
It
looked
was
beautiful.
it was a excellent
Tied the
time.
knot. Shout out to Lady Estad.
Lady, she's an honest woman now.
No doubt, no doubt.
Make me an honest woman.
Yeah. And so all those who's out there that's ready to get married, good luck. Have a great time.
You said good luck.
Yeah, what did
Like,
you say?
what you mean?
Congratulations, or what did you say?
Don't say good luck.
All right,
Just
don't
don't.
say
Yeah,
All right.
strike that.
Yeah, that does put like a little
Good
like,
luck.
All right, my bad.
God bless.
All right,
yes.
well, I take that back. Just do you.
Right.
Do you.
Good.
No, that don't even sound good.
I
Just
don't know
give
what
it
to
up.
say. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
He talking about do you?
I don't know what you supposed to say. I don't know what you supposed to say.
That's
Can
like
keep
along
it-
the lines of to each his own.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, well, to each his own, right?
keep-
Because some
keep-
people, I was just watching something before y'all walked in, and they were talking about that when you get into different marriages, some people like the union of energy, right? And so they don't believe in marriages per se, getting married under the institution of this kind of white privilege piece, and I get that,
Oh,
right?
wow.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I mean, everyone have different points of views, and what I'm starting to see lately is that what I do like, however, that's going on, people are expressing more of themselves as opposed to falling under these structures, right? These, said structures that has been placed on you ever since you were small, right? The structure of, okay, you have to vote Democrat because you're black. People are fighting against that. Same thing if you're Republican. If your parents are Republican, you gotta, no, I don't want to be Republican. Or now, they feel independent, right? The Constitution of marriage, right? They feel like, well, I don't have to get married under, this governmental piece, and
Or
I
even
like
in
that.
the
I like the
church.
idea. Or in the church,
People be
right?
like, Christians
yep,
are like,
absolutely.
hey, I'm doing it wherever I want.
Yeah,
You
So
know?
I like that. I like the idea that people are making more kind of decisions to set their own future up as opposed to how it was set up for them.
But the
so I
world
like that.
is shifting.
There you go.
We're talking about cloning.
Yeah.
Cloning is being
exactly.
holograms are being done. If you think about it, in 11 years we'll be in 2034. Is that right?
That's crazy.
like, come on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's like
It just yeah.
I've been with y'all for almost 8 years. Like, you know what I mean? Like, time goes so quick.
It does.
11 years will be 2034.
That's crazy.
So the world is shifting. And we're not going back.
No.
Nope.
So for
Yeah.
what you just said, see, it's on point.
Yeah.
It's going to be so many different things. I just said that holograms is going to be, they're going to take biopsies, I think, of people who passed away, take some blood drops, put that DNA.
They're already doing it.
See?
They're already doing it.
I-
They're already
is
cloning.
crazy.
They successfully cloned pigs and goats and that successfully.
The man that had the pig heart.
The big heart.
Yeah.
You know, they were talking in. I was part of this discussion, this French bulldog discussion, and they were talking about just bulldogs. They're successfully cloning
See?
dogs, right? Cloning, say for example, you really like this blood that came from this particular bulldog. Well, if the dog isn't alive, they successfully was able to pull off traits prior to it passing and clone that dog so you can get
the
that exact same dog.
And that's
It's crazy.
they're doing that with births though.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
get this. You can tell them what gender you want, the eye color,
That's right.
the height.
Yeah.
And I mentioned the cloning of your passed away relatives because I think people are going to pay enough if they miss their passed away relative. Just clone them.
That's right. That's
Like
right.
even if it's not that person, they're going to say, "Oh, we need recordings, we need their hair samples, all while they're alive." So when they pass away, they can clone them and still have a copy of them. I don't know.
yeah,
It sounds crazy. It's just it feels like something I
Well,
would
it's
see on
happening,
TV.
especially when you have this conversation based around AI, right?
Yes.
And AI being able to, you're having this conversation with AI and it's able to interpret your feelings, not necessarily your feeling and emotion physically per se, but they can interpret what you want to say based off of your own algorithm. So AI is creating this memory of you.
Yeah.
So what they're saying now is that they can, or what they're putting together is headstones, right? Infusing the AI in the headstones of your parents or whomever memory. So you're talking to this thing over time.
And it's picking up the
Right.
algorithm, aka
Correct.
their affects.
Right,
Wow.
right. And so over time, what you're able to do is after said person pass away, now you can kind of visit this person,
Right.
at the
'Cause
grave site because it's
Now
still
that's
giving.
the,
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's I wouldn't even want to partake in that,
ain't no doubt.
and that's just scary.
Yeah, so I mean, it's one of those things, though. I mean, it is what it is. And the thing, especially when it comes to AI, it's like AI's here, whether you like it or not.
It's always been here. It's
It's
just on
always-
steroids now.
Understood. Absolutely.
Yes.
You're 100% accurate. So and to you, ladies and gentlemen, if you are not at the very least understanding AI, you need to right now. Because if you don't, you're going to get ran over, passed over. The train is going to leave too far ahead of you for you to catch up. And what you don't want to do is get either replaced or get so far behind in understanding AI that you get left or again replaced by someone who does understand it. So at the very least, get some type of understanding of what AI is so you can have a conversation as it relates to what you need to do or shouldn't do, because there are some things that you shouldn't do when it comes to AI. So with that said, I'm your boy Charles Gregory, the beautiful
Lauren Sizzle.
and the beautiful.
Classy Lady Sparkle.
It looks like one of our first guests are here. So I don't want you guys to go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to have a dynamic interview. And then we're going to get into some good news and bad news. And then we're going to get into, what else we going to get into? We're going to talk let's talk a little bit about some politics. We're not going to get too far into it, but we're just going to tell you some things that's happening, what the world is talking about. And then we're going to have another interview, and then we're going to have the sizzle. So I don't want you guys to go anywhere. We'll be right back after this, y'all. Holla. Philadelphia. 106.5 FM. We Talk Weeklies. After the Talk with your boy Charles Greg and the beautiful.
Lauren Sizzle.
And the beautiful. Oh, I don't hear you, classic. Give me one more again.
Classy Lady
There
Sparkle.
she go, that voice right there. And so, yeah, man. So, we about to definitely get into some of the things that we like, especially my favorite segment of the show. And why is this my favorite segment of the show? Are the interviews, because I get to talk to the good old people. I get to see and hear the things that they're doing in those streets, right? I love the people in the streets because they're the real people, right? And so, without further ado, who's going to do the intro? That's you, classy lady. Tell me who we have today. Who do we have today?
Today we have Nidrea. Am I pronouncing that right?
It's Nidrea.
Nidrea, such a beautiful name. We have Nidrea Williams. She's a certified trauma empowerment coach, an experienced trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapist with 20 plus years in the mental health. Oh, we're going to get into this with her. As an in-school counselor at a public high school in Havertown, she guides teens through the use of trauma-based techniques and focuses on the well-being state of emotions. Her mission statement is Revitalized Hope and Healing is committed to empowering women and overcoming their past trauma by offering trauma empowerment coaching and motivational speaking services. Y'all already know what to do. Let's give a warm We Talk Weekly welcome to Nidrea Williams.
Let me give her a round of applause. How are you?
I'm doing great.
I'm doing great. Why don't we move that mic a little closer to you?
Okay.
Yeah, there, just get
That good?
Yeah, just a little. Can you help her out real quick? We just want to make sure we hear that beautiful voice.
Yeah, it's a little stiff
There you
sometimes.
go. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Good.
There you go. You sound great. So first and foremost, before we start anything, I gotta ask, how was your day? How was your day today?
My day was good. It was
Okay.
quiet. It was good. I was home.
Okay. Yeah. So the world has been talking about pretty much mental health, right? And trauma and all of that, right? Especially as it relates to the political sector right now, right? Where would you tell somebody to start feeling torn with what side to take, or just getting involved into this push and pull of politics? I just want to start there because there's people arguing back with each other over this stuff. There's people, I seen it today. I'm deleting this person. I can't believe they said they was okay with some of the things in Project 2025. And I looked at some of the things and I was like, there's some things in there that I feel like needs to happen, just as a tongue-in-cheek moment. But what do you tell people who are feeling just kind of in today's world, the push and pull, and feeling like this is just way too much? How do you approach that?
Sometimes you have to turn things off.
Hold on, let me give a round of applause for that. There you go. You could just delete somebody. Yep, no, absolutely. Yep, just stop, just scroll.
No, you do. Like, social media is a lot right now.
Yeah,
Everything you see is not what it is.
that's right.
Like, my husband can watch the news all day long. And I grew up like that with my parents, and I can no longer do it. Like, in the line of work that I do, I just cannot start my day anymore watching the news. I just can't. And he'll be like at work or on his way home, did you see this on the news? Did you see that? He'll send me stuff, and I cannot do it anymore. I have to decompress. I have to separate myself for the work that I do. So sometimes you just have to disconnect and turn things off,
Right.
and not get involved or have a time and a place for it, right?
Right.
So if you know you're going to go into this environment and it's going to be talked about, and you're going to go in this space, it's going to be talked about, and at home, I'm not going to bring it up. I'm not going to look at it, because I know when I go here,
Right,
it's
right.
going to have to be a topic, and I can't avoid it. Because some spaces you cannot avoid it.
Right,
It's just going to happen.
right.
So you have to have your own space set up where you can have a peace of mind. And you can turn your phone off. You can turn your phone off. You have the power. I tell clients, The best thing about the phone is you can turn it off. You don't have to answer it. You can hang up. You can put it down and be done.
You're in control.
Like when someone is talking to you out of their face, you can end the call
Yeah.
and be done.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to go any further. It's not like face to face.
Right.
You know, so it's a shame because kids, our children, I was watching a special and the children were saying how much they're affected by the phone and social media and all the different forms of social media that they use. Like Snapchat is a big thing for the teens.
Yeah.
And they said that their moods are dependent upon what they wake up to on their phone. If someone has replied, if the message is so-and-so on social media to whatever they posted, it is contingent upon their mood. If something has transpired that they don't like, it sets off their whole entire day.
Yeah. I think that's really sad because, especially now in Philadelphia, Philadelphia is such a small city, I guess, when it comes to like different cliques and different gangs and all that. And social media plays a huge part in what we're seeing now when it comes to crime, and especially with youth. I just remember, during the pandemic, students weren't in school and everybody was out. And then when they went back, there was this huge influx of just, violence and different things. And I was hearing from, because, my son was still in school at the time, and I was hearing from him that he just knew all the beefs and how they started from social media. It was just terrible. And just being able to disconnect from it, I feel like that's what young people need.
What started you to get into this field? Like, these are unsung hero occupations and careers. Like, where did that seed get planted that made you want to be in that career?
I kind of fell into it. To be honest, I was pregnant with my son, and I knew I needed to go back to school because he had to go to private school. So I needed to make some more
I know
money.
that.
I know that's right.
I needed to make some more money, and I chose the wrong field, honestly, because
Yeah.
it's a struggle.
hero.
But I went to school undergrad for business, and I fell into this. I said, I'm going to go back get my master's, and I had other plans to start a business. And I just fell in love with this major, clinical psychology. I love psychology in high school when I took the course. And I think nature versus nurture, to be honest, I started to figure out what was wrong growing up when I was learning things, what was going on with my family from what I was learning. And I just wanted to learn more. And then I realized like what I could do in helping. And I just became like a permanent student since. So it's not easy by far. And I pulled, concentrated towards the trauma because that's what I was attracting. Like in every role and position, because I've pretty much done it all since I've been working in the field for over 20 years. In a community, it seemed like I was always getting the heavy trauma clientele. PTSD, sexual assault, all that kind of stuff. And during the pandemic, I was the busiest.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I got laid off, and then that's when I kind of just went full-fledged with my business at home, and I was like doing PRN work for Penn at that time. And you want to talk about every story that you saw on the news? I was getting those women.
Wow.
I remember I had one woman who had lost 4 sons to gun violence.
Oh my God.
And a lot of the stories that I had were women that had experienced something in childhood, and now it was manifesting in adulthood. Yeah. So it was like one thing after another. And then all the calls I was getting privately for my practice were the same things. So I'm like, let me just go ahead and change my my title. Let me just wrap this up in one. I mean, because realistically, a lot of the issues all stem from trauma.
So I want to talk a little bit about that because your specialty is a long title, trauma focused cognitive behavioral therapist, right? And so let's talk a little bit about that. What does that actually mean, right? And how would that support someone who would be, I guess, supported under that school?
So I was trained under trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, and that's an actual model that you use mainly towards the children, like helping them work towards their trauma story and their narrative, so that they can be able to, at the end of the 12 weeks, be able to write their narrative. Like actually, it's not like inside of them anymore. They're able to write out the whole story and be able to verbalize it and come together with their caregivers and talk about it.
Right.
The trauma empowerment is the coaching part. So I kind of moved on to the coaching part to where I'm just working towards helping women, that's my niche down, deal with the things that happen to them that they don't normally talk about. That's really causing them to be stagnant and stuck, and getting them to work towards speaking about that and healing from that. A lot of the cognitive behavior things, doing exercises, working on changing thought patterns and reframing things, because the big thing for me is letting our women know that rejection is really redirection. So big
like
thing with
that.
CBT is reframing. So we reframe that, rejection, you really weren't dismissed. You were just redirected. So
So that led you to, let's talk a little bit about Revitalized Hope and Healing, right? So all of that, I guess, led you to kind of create this, this organization that's specialized in that. And, what is your direction, or what's something that you will hope to achieve based off of this new organization?
So, Revitalized Hope and Healing is helping women revitalize the hope that's been lost. So, the thought was, I talked to God when I was coming up with the name, and hope and healing is what normally gets attacked, right? We lose hope for the moment, but it's not totally lost. So when folks have come to me, it's at that point of, I'm feeling hopeless. I don't know what to do. All these things have happened and everyone's left me, or, I have nowhere to turn. I didn't know who to call. I landed upon you, and now can you help me? Right. And then we work towards the healing. And then at the end of it, you are alive again. Like we're revitalized.
I like that. Yeah.
So that's where the name came from. And, established in 2017. But I really didn't get started till about 2019. Now we're working more towards the coaching and empowerment. I'm on a speaker tour. We just came from...
Hold on. There you go.
right.
You round of applause. There you go.
We just came from the DMV. So I'm really just letting God lead, just showing up and letting God take over. I'm a real type A personality. So I tried February, it was God said we're going to go on a move. We were here in Philly, and I told everyone we're not coming back here till 2025. And I said first stop is Atlanta. And we went to Atlanta in June.
There you go. Shout out to Atlanta.
And then all my planning just went kaput. God just took over. So whatever God is saying, he's saying, and then we show up and then he does the work. So women have come to the events and they've left healed. I got my healing in Atlanta. So it's been really powerful.
Wow. Now, you spoke about growing up, not knowing what not to do from family members or whomever. That's considered generational trauma. How, and tell us what techniques have you given far as how to overcome generational trauma?
Yeah, that's good.
One, we have to learn how to speak about it. generationally, we have learned culturally as a people of color, of the color that we have, that we don't talk about it.
Okay.
It stays in the house. It stays in the church. We don't go to therapy. Therapy has become a little bit more normalized since the pandemic. It's been more of I can sit on my couch and get therapy now because it's virtual. It's a little trendy because now it's in culture because it's in the songs and everything. Now everybody's getting therapy, so people feel a little bit more comfortable. But here's the thing: I learned this while we were away in the DMV over the weekend, last weekend. Our generation is like the 30s, 40s. We're going to therapy, but the 50, 60, 70-year-olds are like, what you doing that? We don't talk about that. You crazy. Like, what's wrong with you? Why you going to therapy? Only crazy people go to therapy because they're still stuck. So we've come to grips of it's okay to go to therapy. I want my child in therapy because my child's in school going into crises. So I'm aware, and now I need to go to therapy too. But we still have our elders that are still looking upon us like something is wrong, and we still had that generation to teach, and it's really hard to teach them.
Yeah.
You can't.
They're stuck in their ways.
You
Yeah.
can't.
Yes.
You can't teach them. So we have to be encouraged to speak out about it. And you know, I had an event the other day, and it was so empowering for the women to just be able to talk about. I started off with like, when was the first time you remember being rejected? And they sit and they're like, oh, you're going to make me cry. But it's like the thing that you held in all this time because no one was able to listen to you. No one wanted to hear you. You could never share anything like that because you never had the space. So it's getting the ability to be able to speak about it, to talk about it, to say that it happened. Because it happened to you. There's nothing wrong with you, but it happened to you. And a lot of times we weren't even believed that something happened.
I want to talk. I want to not necessarily push back, right? But I do want to ask: is there a thing about sharing too much, right? Is there a thing as it relates to the idea of this social media piece of putting everything out there to everybody, right? That's not necessarily therapy, right? Therapy is coming to someone like you and saying, okay, I'm giving you my world versus let me run a social media and give the world, right? So what's your position on that? Because I do believe there is an argument on both sides. One, to say that people need to talk about what those issues are that's plaguing them because it's other people that actually are going through that same thing, right? But I see the other side when someone argue that everything isn't for everybody, so to speak, right? And so how do you walk that fine line of sharing but not sharing too much, if that makes sense?
No, it makes a lot of sense because what you're saying is that some things you share can trigger others.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right?
Right.
So you have to be careful what you're sharing, and everything is not the appropriate place.
Right.
Right? So again, we talked about like turning off social media because
Right,
people do that and it's not safe. So social media is not a safe place.
Yeah. Say one more again.
Social media is not a safe place. You never know what you're going to scroll through when you scroll, right? So I am very much aware, like I only follow certain people. I make sure that only certain things show up in my timeline so I'm not triggered in that way, right? That's one thing that you all should be doing so that you don't have those occurrences because you can't control that, right? And then two, social media is not the place for you to like have your therapy sessions, right? You can follow people that can give you some good tips and tricks, right? But like, it's not for you to actually have those venting sessions. This kind of stuff is stuff you have a safe space
Yeah.
where you feel comfortable. Like those ladies I met with, they wouldn't have shared that kind of stuff
Yeah.
on social media. They felt comfortable in a safe space.
That's right.
Like those are the topics that you share in safe spaces. Social media is not a safe space. So those folks that are sharing those kind of messages, it might be good to privately message them and say, hey, I have a person that, you might want to talk to. Like, I have some information. Have you, thought about just, and it's not being facetious. It's just saying, hey, here's some information. Here's some referrals for you. Here's some resources, because they're struggling. Obviously, they're struggling. And some people
out.
don't have the people to talk to.
That's right.
So
True,
you
yes.
can't judge them, right?
Right.
Some people, so they look to social media for community. So you cannot judge them.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
don't, some people only know what they know.
No,
It's almost like a cry out, too.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like some people are crying out, and some people are that close to making really poor decisions. So we can't say, oh, they shouldn't be doing that. They should know better. They might not know better, and they might need someone to say, hey, I got you. Like I did see something that was really nice. A lady that was losing her home, and they said on TikTok, she had posted it, and so many people reached out from the area in Dallas and offered help to help her put things in storage.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw
was
that. She was
nice.
being evicted. And all these people showed up.
Yeah,
Nice.
and things like that do happen. You can,
Yeah.
cry out, and people can help.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got.
just-
Oh, go ahead, Sizzle.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I just had like a vision. I just kind of popped into my head. I snickered to myself because I see that all the time. Somebody's just getting on there and then they're just going on this whole tangent, personal stuff, even about other family members, and there's no one ever says to them don't do that here, or you can get help, or they may say don't post this on here, but they don't offer the alternative of getting help. So that's just so important,
I personally think that people are now trying to go viral. Like the woman who was crying out, and then it was her relationship, and now she's making money. You know what I mean? So it's like they still have the mental health, but now it's like it's cool to do. But my question was, with that being said, it's so many people who are now, I'm real. I'm gonna tell you how it is. I'm gonna body shame you. No, you should just take the realness, and it's becoming abusive. So now you got these people who, because the internet or the media is now saying be real and just tell it like it is, but now you're becoming the brutal person, which gives another person the trauma.
That's right.
So now
Right.
it's like there's this seesaw now where people are being real based on what the media says about not sugarcoating stuff, but now you got someone who's receiving this cyberbullying and now dealing with trauma. Even with our politicians right now, you got Joe Biden and Trump, and it's almost like with the media is hyping it up to say, someone who can't really speak, not far from age with each other, but it's kind of a bully with, the Sleepy Joe, or, you know what I mean?
They're
So,
controlling the narrative.
so what do you tell your clientele to, I know it's like stop with the, social media, but is it also another kind of confidence thing that you can build in them? Or what advice would you give?
That's exactly what you're saying. Like, how do you value yourself? Like, a lot of times we can differentiate what's real and what's not, right?
Yeah.
If we are high on our self-worth. So it affects us the most when we're not thinking really good about ourselves.
Yeah.
If
Right.
we don't think well about ourselves, then it's easy for us to spiral down. But if we're working on our self-worth and we think that we're worthy, and that doesn't apply to me. I don't I'm not in that situation. That body shaming I don't even think that way. I don't fit in that category.
Right.
I don't even see that. I'm not talking about myself, but I don't see that because I think of myself differently. I value
Right.
myself differently. So we work on that, like
Good, yes.
self-worth and value, and not dealing with the self-doubt.
Yeah.
You know, and that goes back to the rejection. Like if we are working on that, then we're not affected about that because we kind of work through the rejection. We navigated through all the no's. We
Yeah.
know better. Like people are going to say that.
Right.
Like people
right,
are
right.
going to do that. People are going to challenge us in that way. But we have to toughen up because we know who we are.
Right.
You know, God said who we are. You know, God has told me who I am, and I don't really care who else has to say what.
That's
you
right.
know.
Exactly.
So if we go back to that, and that's another thing about me. You know, I can never denounce God in it. So if I remember when I was starting my practice, I debated whether I was going to have anything about, you know, my religion. And you know, someone said to me, well, if you don't, then who are you going to attract, you know? So it was like something, because when I did, I chose to, and because I never denounced God, everyone that called me was like, you know, because I was looking for someone that was a Black Christian woman, you know?
Wow.
So, and I couldn't find anybody, you know, and when I found out you was Black and you was Christian, you know, they were excited. So if we have the fear in God and God only,
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter what
Absolutely.
anyone else has to say. And I think if we go back to that first and foremost, you know, and I bring my people back to that, you know, if we are valuing ourselves and our worth,
Right.
if that is in, you know, check, we can start there and then we can work further down. But when that is low and tainted, that's where it's easy for all the other things to just come in and seep in and
That's
destroy.
I agree with that. You know what? And as you say that, right, I'm going to read a couple different behaviors, right? And I want y'all to just think about this, right? One, mood modification, silence, tolerance, withdrawal symptoms, conflict, and relapse. I just gave y'all behaviors of, it sounds like substance abuse, but this is actually diagnosed as social media addiction behavior. That's wild, right? And so when it comes to, right, us understanding those behaviors, we have to think about, are we truly understanding what we think? Because most of us say, oh, I ain't addicted. That's the criteria. It's addictive social media disorder.
Wow.
That's crazy, right? And this was, I'm on theaddictioncenter.com if y'all want to look this up. And it's just, social media addiction is a behavior addiction that is characterized as being overly concerned about social media, driven by an uncontrollable urge to log on to or use social media and develop so much time and effort to social media that it impairs other important life areas. Crazy, right?
Wow.
Certain things that we look over, right? And that just goes back to your point, right? What do we feel about ourselves, right? And are we conscious enough to see where we're falling short, identifying it, and kind of just logging off, so to speak, right? Most of us don't know we're addicted. So if you feel like you have to always pull out your phone, unfortunately, it looks like you have social media addiction disorder. It's crazy, right? No.
Try one thing, right?
Yeah.
Let's just sit for a second. And
Sure.
what do we do when we first wake up?
Pick up our phone. Well,
We don't even brush our teeth.
Yeah,
like
I-
nobody brushes
I
their
don't.
teeth. They just go right to their phone. Like
Yeah, I used to. I realized it was becoming a problem.
over
And I said, this is, yeah. But we're surrounded by everything electronic, everything
It
AI,
is,
from your Alexas to your cars. It's that's exactly what it is. You're opening your door, you're opening your vehicles. You can't even buy modern stuff anymore
Can't.
because of how the way it is. You know, and they're programming us to be human computers because here, think about this. When you use GPS and you're going somewhere, as soon as you turn it off, now you've been to this destination 5 times. You can't even get there without turning GPS, and you've been there 5 times.
So look,
So when people
Go ahead.
realize that, why don't you go look at landmarks, turn it off? Because back in the day, they had to you had to print it out.
Yeah.
Do
I
not
know.
use it, but challenge yourself.
Mad Quest.
MapQuest.
But so what was you about to say, Sid?
No, I was agreeing with you. What I was saying is that are we being programmed, or are we allowing people to program us?
I
That
think it's
peels back a layer.
I think
right?
it's both.
It's
I
both,
think two
okay.
things could be right at the same
I
time.
agree. Yep.
Yeah.
I agree. Yep.
So I'm gonna challenge you, right? Think about this. If I said that you had to wake up and think about 5 things you're grateful for each morning, and these are the 5 things that if you didn't announce those 5 things that you were grateful for, they would be taken away.
I'm breathing, waking up.
The
like,
air. Yeah.
The air. Jeez.
Your lungs working.
There you go.
Think about it. Like, so you can't pick up the phone, but you have to start the morning with 5 things that you're grateful for. And if you don't do this every day, God's going to take them away from you.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Wow.
A challenge.
That's a challenge.
Like, we can always think about what we don't have,
That's right.
right?
Right.
What we need, what's missing, but what do we have?
What's your gratitude to that?
What if God said, I'm taking this from you because you don't thank me for it? And all you was worried about was your phone when you first woke up this morning. So,
Right.
therefore, if you worried about your phone, you can have your phone, but I'm going to take everything that you didn't thank me for this morning away from you. What you going to do then?
That's right.
Wow.
That's right. So that's a good challenge, and I mean, to that point, it's probably a good exercise to start thinking if you don't already do this. Wake up and name 5 things that you're thankful for as soon as you wake up.
That's an exercise I give my clients.
So there you go. Let me give you a round of applause for that.
What's the ripple effect? What's that?
Meaning?
Meaning, like, is there? I read it in the bio. Like a ripple effect. Is it where it's almost like C says it all the time? Teach one.
Each one teach 3.
Each one teach 3. I used to say each one teach 1, but each one teach 3. So is it the ripple effect is that you make sure that with one client that you're able to pour in and invest and knowing that they're going to spread that along?
So for me, like, for me, I want the women to be healed because I was once that woman that was struggling mental health wise, right? I thought I was hiding it from my son, but I wasn't.
Oh, wow.
You know, when he was struggling at 16, he said, Mom, I know what depression is. That was when I was 8 and you was in the room in the dark.
No.
Shout out to that emotional intelligence. Shout out to him.
So we as women, we have the most contact with our children, right? My heart is with the kids because the children are our future, right? And that's our legacy. So that's the ripple effect for me. So if our women
like
are
that.
mentally sound and our infants pick up on our emotions at infancy, the facial expressions, they pick up on emotions. In utero,
Yeah.
they can pick up on anxiety,
Yeah.
right? So if we can get our women mentally sound, mental wellness together, that builds on our legacy, right? Because the more women, we have women, how many women are in a daycare center versus the men?
98%.
Okay, so how
come
many
from
infants?
childcare.
How many infants are in a daycare center?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the infants pick up on emotions.
They do.
How many women come to work at a daycare center not emotionally sound?
There you go. Bringing that right into the
Yeah.
daycare. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So that's the generation after generation after generation. You talk about breaking generational trauma. So we can get these women mentally sound. You're talking about our legacy.
Yeah.
And I'm all about legacy building, right?
Right.
Don't get me started talking about. Don't get me started
No,
talking
I mean,
about.
that's one
Thank you.
thing we as a people don't focus on enough is our
It's
legacy.
not. It's
Yeah.
not.
You just hit on something. I my background is in healthcare, and it's epigenetics. But even before before you procreate, let's just say a 20-year-old, and she doesn't have children until she's 22. If she's in a stressful environment at 20, once that seed is implanted, it's now the embryo is now in a sac, the amniotic sac of stress. So when this child is born, even if it starts to wear off, that muscle memory for that child is now going to be stressed. So even if they grow up in suburban or whatever, this child can still gravitate to a familiarity of stress. So what you just said is absolutely true, that it starts within, even before the sperm or the embryo is made, because now this woman is stressed, and now this is where this child is growing.
I'm living proof. I said that I wanted to send my son to private school, so I paid lots of money for him to go to private school from the time he started, right? Daycare on. And I cried every day during my pregnancy.
Oh.
Yeah.
My son had to get assessments to go to private school, pay a lot of money for those, and he scored high on the social emotional issue.
How I just told you, so that's social emotional. He's socially intelligent.
But it was an issue. I had him in a Montessori school, Waldorf School
okay,
in
that's good.
Philadelphia, right? And they wouldn't promote him to the first grade because it was like 3.5 to 5.5, 6.5 or something like that, because they were afraid because it's social where he scored there, he wouldn't be ready to move forward with the older kids because of his emotions, his emotional states. He's still that way.
Yeah.
No matter how much money I paid, no matter what he had access to, he's still that way. He's 20-something years old. And that was in utero that
Yeah.
developed.
Does he cry a lot?
No, he doesn't cry a lot, but he talks a lot.
You know,
Get it out,
I
baby
don't
boy.
want to pivot. I don't want to pivot the conversation, right? But there's conversation when it comes to relationships, right? Of women wanting men to be more emotional intelligence, but they can't handle it when he's really emotional intelligent, because now they calling him, oh, you lame, or you giving me too much. But you just said he wanted them to be in touch with his feelings and emotions, right? And so that just goes back to the point of what we really want and what we identify, and saying what we really want. We have to truly be in tune with what we really want. Otherwise, we'll be getting something that we thought was cool to say that we really wanted, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very true.
And so what it was something that you mentioned that I just want to jump on to, right? Oh yeah, real quick. This time flew already. It's already 9 o'clock. I could talk to you all day. I think we're gonna bring you back. But what would you say to someone? Because I like to allow space for not only safe spaces and growth, but to be able for people to come on We Talk Weekly and get resources, get information, right? For someone who may come to the show, come to our page, right? And watch this interview, and they may feel broken. They may feel, toxically traumatized, so to speak. They might have PTSD. They may feel like it's over for me and this is the last moment, right? Can you give a word or have a conversation real quick for someone who might be watching this if they feel like that?
Sure. That person needs to know that they're not alone, right? There's always someone that you can talk to. Now we have the crisis line. I think it's like text. You can text 888. Anyone there can text you back or call you and talk. You can call them and you can talk to them about anything. You don't have to be like in a full crisis. They'll work and talk to you. They can even come out to assess you. If you're in danger, you can go to the police station. You have to see, a lot of times, and I have to go here, a lot of times people are scared to let others know that they need the help. And when we are a strong person, we think that someone is supposed to know that we need to help because we might be, stepping back a little bit or whatever. But we have to like speak out.
Yeah.
We have to speak up and say, hey, I'm not feeling myself right now. And don't do it through social media, but like pick up the phone. And another thing, this came up a few days ago too. Pop up on some people. Like check in on some people. Like if someone is, trying to let you know something is not sounding right, like don't just keep texting them. Pop up.
Yeah.
Like go knock on the door. Be evasive because they might not be able to verbalize it, but the little hints and clues
right.
might be letting you know that they need you to stop by. I've been that person before, and it's hard being that strong friend because, being professionals, you guys know a lot of times you need that person.
That's right.
Some of the people watching this probably need that person, but they don't want to let the other person know. Some of the males don't want to let another person know they're struggling, right? If you see one of your brothers like distancing himself, not showing up like he used to, pop up on him. If somebody's on here that is feeling that way, let someone know. Don't just be like giving the hints. Sometimes your other friends, if you're a strong friend or not a strong friend, people don't know how to approach you, and they just need to know that you do need the help, or just ask.
Great advice. One of the things that I like to say to men, that was excellent advice. Thanks for that. One of the things that I tell men is because we have this issue where, and the ladies too, but for the most part, men, we always all right, right? Sometimes we have this thing where someone be like, hey, what's going on? Everything good? And we be like, yeah, everything good. And we might have just lost someone.
Yeah.
Right. And so I would just say, believe it or not, be honest for once.
Exactly.
Be honest for once. Let someone know that you're not doing really good because maybe they can help. Right.
And sometimes it's economics.
Yeah.
Like they can't pay their bills. They trying to get a job and they don't want the world to see them in that state because they feel like they're less than.
Yeah.
So they
Makes
don't
us
talk
weak.
about it. Yeah. So
And you never know who has the resources.
That's right. That's why.
You
let
never
someone
know.
that.
Like sometimes people don't tell me exactly what they need, and if they just say like, "Hey, I do you know?" and like I'll know something. Like, and the same thing for me. Like I've been in a season of just asking. So I'm like, listen, do you know? Do you know something? And people do have the answers. Like you just never know, and I like that. Just be honest.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times people don't want to tell the truth.
Right.
One thing about that too is stick around for the answer. I can't stand. I can't stand it.
Yes.
Don't ask me how I'm doing. And it is the day
You just
that I really want to tell you the truth. I want to say, listen, actually, I'm not doing okay. And you keep going by.
yes.
That burns my soul.
Yes.
Because I really got up the nerve to tell you how I really feel. And you didn't want to hear it. Don't fake ask me what I'm doing. Like, stick around to hear the answer. Like, seriously. That is something that you could really do for somebody. Stick around. Like, ask the question when you really have time.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what? To that point, I want to ask you your thoughts on this. Someone recently, and I felt them with this because I lost my mom. Spark lost her mom. But
Sorry.
this young lady lost a parent, and she said, and I felt her. She said, "Don't say to me, I'm praying for you."
I know you're talking about.
And it hit me, and I was like, I hate it when someone told me that when they found out that my mom passed away. I can't put my finger on it, right? What triggered me to that irritated me so much, right? I still to this day can't articulate why that angers me. But what do you say to people? What type of advice would you give to someone who want to pay respects to someone the dear friend that may have lost a relative, what would be the appropriate response, or what do you think they should do in that manner?
Grief is long lasting.
Yeah.
Right? It comes in waves, right? The best thing that you can say is I'm here.
Right.
Like, I think we're in a rush to say something,
Yeah.
and we never know the right thing to say.
Yeah.
Right? But at any capacity, if you need me, I'm here. And I think sometimes the person just needs you to pop up,
Yeah.
to call.
I will pop
The
up.
call at the right time, like to just show them like how you really feel.
Yeah.
But like you might not have to just say it. Like if you gonna pray, like you don't have to say I'm gonna pray for you. Like just pray. You know, like you don't have to say it, but you could just say I'm here for you however you need me. Know that I'm here for you. Call me if you need me. And then you do the calling. Sometimes they're not going to answer. You do the popping up. Sometimes they might not answer the door, but you're letting them know that you're there, and you're still giving them that space, because there's no right thing to say.
Yeah.
There
that's
isn't.
right.
There's no right thing to say. I think everyone that has lost someone gets irritated at almost every
Everything,
attempt.
That's right.
Every attempt. There's no right thing to say. So just letting the person know that you're there, and then the action of it. And sometimes you are going to get dismissed. But if you're that type of person to that person, it's not going to matter to you.
Hercules. Round of applause. Excellent. Geez, time flies. I want to thank you for coming to the show.
You're welcome.
One thing
Thank
that
you
we
for having me.
absolutely, one thing we say is once you come to the show, you're a friend to the show, so you're always welcome to come back. But before, excuse me, before I let you go, why don't you tell everyone real quick? Do you have anything coming up that people can kind of watch for? But also, why don't you let everyone know how they can find you, how they can get in contact with you, all that good old stuff.
Sure. We're still touring. So the next stop on the tour is the Demand What You Deserve tour. We'll be in Dallas, August 24th, Jersey City, September 28th, and then we'll be in Houston, November 2nd. You can find me at rehopecoaching.com, rehope_Coach Williams on IG, and Rehope Coach on Facebook, and Rehope Coach on YouTube. And you can find my books on Amazon, and yeah, that's it.
There you go.
Do you take health insurance?
I do not. Private pay only.
Okay.
She want the bag right here. Open
But I
that
am
briefcase.
accepting clients.
Okay.
No doubt.
Yes.
Yeah. Do they have a number or something they can reach you? Or
Sure. 267-574-0634.
Yeah, one more time.
267-574-0634.
website or anything?
rehopecoaching.com.
rehopecoaching.com.
One more thing before you go, just let everyone know that if there is someone out there, struggling, what advice would you give them?
To speak up. To speak up. Let someone know that you need the help. And don't be afraid to call. Dial 888 to text. And you can call that number as well to speak to someone. And let someone know it's okay to say that I am struggling, because no one is going to know unless you say something, and it's okay. And keep talking about it until you get the right person, because sometimes you talk to the wrong people.
Yeah.
Make sure that you talk to the right person. There are people out here qualified for you to speak to.
Like Nadria.
Yes.
Reach out to her. No doubt. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have to go. I'd like to thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you.
Excellent.
having me.
Absolutely. We talk weeklies after the talk on WPP MLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We talk weeklies after the talk with your boy Charles Greggy and the beautiful
Lawrence's.
and the beautiful
Classy Lady Sparkle.
and the beautiful.
Nadria Williams.
There you go. So I don't want you guys to go anywhere. When we come back, we have good news and bad news with Classy Lady Sparkle. We'll be right back, y'all. Holla.
We just want to get a little background as to who the Fantastic Noise is and the noisemakers. If you can let us know.
Yes, absolutely. So once again, I am Fantastic Noise. I am the original noisemaker, so no one's going to make as much noise as me, okay? And right here we have the Noisemaker Band. This is only half of it. The other stuffs are upstairs. My Kevin Lamar, Lonnie, and Dobbs, who are the actual band members. These are the background singers. And we came to make some noise. We came to bring that noise today. That's what we tried to do. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
And how did you guys get together?
Oh man, so it started with I've been doing this on my own for almost 3 years now. And man, I guess each of these people here have different background stories. Most of us went to the same church together, and we just kept going. This one, this is one of my assistants here. One of like my biggest supporter, my biggest cheerleader here. She's an assistant. So we just been building, and the same thing with upstairs with the band. Just meeting through people, kept networking, kept seeing, and it was just like God ordained. Bam, here we are.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, could you guys do We Talk Weekly a favor?
Yes.
Can you give us a drop in a melody type way?
Oh, a melody type way?
Yes.
Okay. So we talk weekly?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to do something like this. We talk weekly, come and hear us. We talk weekly, come and hear them. 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 We talk weekly, come and hear them.
Okay, get beautified because y'all already gorgeous.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We Talk Weeklies after the talk of WPPMLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We Talk Weeklies after the talk with your boy Charles Gregory and the beautiful
Classy Lady Sparkle.
Lauren Sizzle is letting the guests out.
That was a great
Yeah.
interview.
I gotta move this chair. Talk a little bit, Spark.
That was a great interview. She definitely hit on a lot of different things that are our world. It's not even a generation thing anymore. It's our world. You have adults, you have children who can't put their phone down. The first thing they think about when they wake up is to get on their phone. I was actually one of those people, and I would not allow it to control me. So I don't grab my phone first thing in the morning. I did those same activities that she just challenged everybody with. So do it for your psyche, because years to come, you're going to wish that you did it. You don't want to be programmed, because it, just like an addiction to nicotine, food,
It's an
fashion,
addiction,
it's still an addiction.
Yeah, and we hate. I think what it is we hate that word addiction. We hate the word addiction. Right? We addicted to our phones. 90% of the people on the planet are at this point. If you feel that, as soon as you wake up, you gotta go to you're addicted.
Challenge yourself, because anytime as a kid, I used to suck my thumb. And my mom was like, "You're going to have to get braces." And because she challenged me, I'm like, back then, braces wasn't cute. So I said it was an addiction to my thumb as to soothe me. I was like, nope, I'm not doing it. And I found myself doing that in life. When you feel like there's something controlling you, challenge yourself to make sure that it doesn't. People need to go off the grid, and I'm not saying go away, but shut all that stuff down.
Definitely.
It'll still be there.
It'll definitely still be there. We Talk Weekly After Talk on WPPMLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We Talk Weekly After Talk with your boy Charles Gregory and the beautiful.
Lauren
And the
Sizzle.
beautiful.
Classy Lady Sparkle.
I want to touch on something. Let me read something real quick. Let me turn on some music while we're doing that, because I don't want to go into good news and bad news and a guest come in, but I think this is a good time to do maybe some more quick news real quick. So, something that just popped up. Breaking news story, and this is, where is this at? This came on news. This is on Newsweek. Kamala Harris get bad news in 3 battleground states. This is interesting. Vice President Kamala Harris does worse than President Joe Biden in hypothetical matchup with GOP nominee Donald Trump in 3 battleground states, polling shows. After Biden's weak showing against Trump at the first presidential debate late last month, there have been calls from Democrats in Congress and other prominent members of the party of the president to step down and let someone else like Harris receive the nomination. But This is a big but. Biden has reportedly vowed to stay in the race, and Harris has made it clear she supports him as the party candidate. Since the debate concerns about Biden's age and perceived mental acuity have not subsided, the 81-year-old president struggled to give coherent answers at the debate and at times seemed to lose his train of thought. Harris is 59, nearly 2 decades younger than Trump, 78. But according to the survey conducted by Insider Advantage from July 15th to the 16th, more voters in Pennsylvania, Nevada, and Arizona would want Biden as a Democratic nominee over Harris, based on who can best defeat Trump. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a lot of speculation. Go ahead. I see you was about to say something. Go ahead.
Let me tell you something. Just I have so many different mixed feelings about when it comes to what the Democratic Party is doing. Is kind of, and I hate to, I'm not trying to be on any side, of course, but like I think it's a disappointment to a lot of to the party. A lot of what I'm seeing, and I'm trying to say things without saying it.
Yeah.
But like a lot of what I'm saying is very disappointing. I think I'm just trying to make sense of it, and it's very
You can't.
and
That's
right,
why
and
you-
that's the problem. Like
Yeah.
it's very
Makes sense.
aggravating because I just don't understand, and
You
I
can't.
get that out of fear, Democrats are like Biden needs to step aside, or he needs to pass the torch to somebody else, but who is that someone else?
Hold
Yeah,
that thought, hold
that's-
that thought real quick, because I want to talk about this little comment that someone posted, which I think voters are concerned about Kamala's liberal policies, and I agree with that. Some voters are. So much of the country is done with the extreme liberalism anymore,
Yeah.
and there are a lot of people who actually feel that way. Go ahead.
That they're done with liberalism.
They're done with the hyper liberal kind of position. And a lot of people I'm hearing a lot of that on even both sides. I'm hearing some, moderate Democrats feeling like, it's just too liberal.
It's
And
getting
of course,
there's
the Republicans.
They're
Go
losing
ahead.
structure to
Yeah.
me. You know,
the Democrats.
to me, yeah, because they're allowed. There has to be some type of law and order. You have to have something. It feels like everything is such a free fall now, in my opinion. That
So do you mean
allowing
that-
everything?
Is that with the policies or just like the way they're going about?
I mean, even down to the border, like certain things shouldn't happen. Like certain things need an order or some type of structure in place. Is Biden the one? Not saying that we're voting for Biden based on being a Democrat, but if he's not the man to do the job, then I don't know.
Well, I think Biden, he has been trying to, and I can't think of the initiatives right, at the moment, but he has been trying to do some things when it comes to like the border. He got a lot of pushback from the Republicans, and DJT did say like he wanted the Republicans to hold off on it because he wanted to be able to address that when he got into the office. But like, I don't know. This is just it's just very frustrating to me because I think people want to see what Democrats are going to do versus now. And when the media is showing what they want to show, mainstream media is showing what they want to show. They're not focusing. No one's focusing on the issues right now. I feel like it's just Democrats are fighting about getting Joe Biden to step down.
Yeah.
Republicans are just whatever Trump says, he's told I don't know how many lies. And it's just the American people are like, what the heck is going on?
It's
Like,
it's
from
like
both
a
sides.
SNL.
It is.
It's,
And
really
I want to
is.
say this other. I want to read this other comment too by Liberty Twitcher. He says there would have been plenty of options, but Biden assumed Trump's conviction would allow him to win. Now I'm assuming Liberty that you're a Republican, right? And we welcome anyone and everyone
Absolutely.
to comment, right? And so I appreciate you commenting. I don't want to assume that if I'm wrong, you can kind of correct me. Oh, he said no, I'm a Democrat, or she. I don't know who you are. No, I'm a Democrat. Okay, cool. So that goes back to the point that even some Democrats are feeling this way about Biden.
Yeah.
It's not just Republicans. Thanks
Feeling
for
what way?
clearing that up. Yep.
That he's not addressing the issues.
And he said, but I can't tolerate the extreme liberalism anymore, which goes to the point. Extreme
That operative
liberalism.
word, right.
And and to a degree, so we have to allow space for these differences of opinions,
Right.
right? There can't be, we're not monoliths, right? And so we have to allow people to have an opinion,
Yeah.
right? Go ahead.
I think when people are saying extreme liberalism, I'm the type of person where you have to break things down
Yeah,
completely.
no,
So
as
I
you should
understand.
be. Yeah, that's
So I
right.
just want to know like what they feel like is extreme liberalism.
okay,
if they
so
could give examples.
and they are giving examples.
All right, let's read some.
and
of those.
and liberty. Anytime you feel like, because I want to always preface the show, right?
Right.
We allow safe spaces for everyone, even
Right.
Republicans, and
Right.
so and this is Democrat. You affirmed that you was a Democrat, so I'm reading your comments. And this is for everyone to see. So I just want to let you know that I'm doing that if that's okay, right? And so some of the things he said, oh my God, open borders is crazy. That Biden has let millions of people come into the country illegally. Why is crazy? Go on to say, and the refusal of liberal prosecutors to prosecute criminals. We are the victims of that. And last but not least, he say, and the liberals are now lowering educational standards because supposedly people of color can't achieve. That hurts us. Okay. So that's some of the examples that they gave.
Lowering educational standards.
I mean, they didn't get, that's just kind of what he said.
Yeah.
Because supposedly, and the liberals are now lowering educational standards because supposedly.
Oh yeah, the CT.
In California.
CT.
So they must be in California.
Yeah,
Okay.
but that's true. Like they're taking certain things out. What was it? What's it called? The acronyms. Far as the history of Black Americans and
It
their
said they got rid of the
Oh,
SAT tests and are removing algebra.
yes,
They're
that.
removing
But it was
algebra.
something
Wow.
else. It was the thing about knowing your history. They were taking that out. The Black
You
history.
mean critical race theory?
Yes, the critical race theory. They took that out based on.
Well, the
and-
thing about that is, and you know, in my master's program, I did a research paper on this. Critical race theory is not taught in secondary education. It's not.
Yeah.
That's something that they teach in post-secondary education.
true.
And I remember when they came up with this, you know, as a way to. I'm not going to get into the
And
tactics.
in law and criminal justice. I just want everyone to
But it's
understand
not
critical
taught.
race theory is
It's
about.
not taught in secondary education. It's not taught, and that was just something that they used to
Correct. That's
get people all
absolutely
riled
correct.
up. And you had these parents showing up at schools. I don't want my
That's
kids
correct.
learning critical race theory, and
That's
they're
correct.
learning how to hate, you know,
They just
white
gave it
people
a
or to
title.
hate themselves because it wasn't even taught
right.
in schools.
That's true.
And that was one of my good news, bad news. Can I just elaborate more on what
Yes,
you already
go ahead.
said?
Yep.
President Joe Biden
Hold
basically.
on. So this is good news, bad news?
Yeah.
So let's just get ready to go
Yeah,
into
let's-
good news and
Oh,
bad news.
okay.
Because before you cut, because I want to make sure that you can give context after you do your story.
We can take
Okay.
All right. So, but I do want to give this last comment, because we allowing space for people to have conversation. He says they got rid of high school exit exams because too many minorities couldn't pass it. So instead of improving education, they lowered standards.
And was this the state of California?
I believe so. We are a joke to the rest of the world now, as kids are the least educated ever. Now, for context, I just want to know. You don't have to answer this because we give safe spaces. I just would like to know if you're black or not. If you're black or not, that gives some context, right? Doesn't matter if you don't want to answer that. That's fine, because again, we give safe spaces, but we allow open dialogue, and the reason for this is because if we don't have these uncomfortable conversations, we won't get anywhere. We talk weekly.
Latino.
Oh, he's Latino. Oh, there you go.
Latino.
Yes, California. There you go. Yes, in
So,
California.
i-
Thank you
is
for that.
he- is he-
Thank you for that. He
Is
said
he
he's Latino.
referring to Latino schools or
No, this
black
is
and brown?
no. They referring to. He said California, not a specific school. But I have heard that they got rid of SATs.
I'm
I
quite
have
sure
heard.
it's black
Right,
and
right.
brown.
Yeah, I heard of that
Yeah,
too.
yeah, no, for sure. Thank you for that. I appreciate you giving that context. So again, for anyone who watches We Talk Weekly, we a solutions-based platform. So we don't just point fingers at one party, at another party. We try to give true dialogue, true understanding. We try to allow, like I said, allow safe spaces and have these uncomfortable conversations. Because if we can't agree to disagree and move forward, we always going to run in place. Always going to run in place, and that's where we at. Oh, go ahead, Sizzle. Yep, I know you.
No, that was Spark.
Oh, go ahead. Spark.
Oh.
I'm not bad. So let's go in. You want to go? Let's go into so you can address
Okay.
kind of your position. Let's go ahead.
Well, it's basically just piggyback and adding more information to what you had
Okay, go ahead.
already
No, go
said.
ahead, yeah.
And pretty much what you just mentioned, it states that the reason that Biden may be stepping down is because of his medical condition that arose.
The COVID.
Yeah, that
right.
he's looking to maybe step down. However, his comment was that that only way he's stepping down is if he dies.
Okay,
That's
he's
what-
standing tall, huh?
Yep. But his team is saying if he does exit the race before the Democratic National Convention in August, will the next candidate be Kamala Harris? Like, is there a policy or is it not? Now, if something happens to the president, we know that the vice president takes as successor to that. But what happens in this instant? Because it hasn't never happened.
I believe that the party, I'm not even talking about Republicans at this point. I'm talking about, I believe the Democratic Party dislikes the idea of Kamala so much. They would rather Joe Biden completely step out of it and let another person run for the party. That's my belief. That's my belief.
I was just discussing
doubt.
that with someone else, and I concur. I agree with that. I don't think they want Kamala Harris there. I believe that they would, and I've been hearing, and I kind of trying to look at everything in all different aspects. And one thing that I really can't understand, I'm back to this, I can't understand, but I can't understand for the life of me is why, first of all, I feel like the conversation about him stepping down or stepping aside should be a private conversation. I don't understand why it's so public.
I agree.
Because it's overshadowing everything. Like it's just crazy. And then the other thing is that the Biden-Harris administration, they are the ones that are basically saying, like, he's not stepping aside because this is what he's saying. He's not stepping aside. He's going to continue campaigning and all that. And he feels like he can win this race. They have their own polling that they've been looking into that shows, and I've seen some other polling that kind of mirrors similar to what they're saying, that shows that he has a chance. It's a really tight race, but he does have a chance to win. The Democrats, the politicians, they are getting together in separate meetings, and I don't know if Kamala Harris is included in these meetings, but they're the ones that are calling for him to step aside.
Yeah.
And to me, it just seems like so separated.
Divided.
It's divided, and it seems like they're divided within their own party. And I feel like it's based off of this huge fear that they feel Biden is going to lose, and they feel they are going to lose their positions if Biden is no longer president.
I want to. So I'm gonna let you. I got you, Spark. But I believe this is something I disagree with. Liberty. He says the party can choose at the convention. I'm saying the party will choose at the convention. But this is something that I agree with. That it's become a public conversation because he's refusing to step down. This is conversation.
And at the same time, he does have the right to stay in the race.
That's true.
Right.
That's
It
true.
becomes divisive if they know that you're against the commander in chief. Like a house divided can't stand. So why should it be public that know that they're having a squirrel at home? That, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
the first thing you say is keep it at home. Like
Right,
don't let the
right,
world know
right,
that the
exactly.
family is at quorums.
And
right now.
I think this is exactly what they wanted, though. They wanted it to be public, so there's like public outcry, and there's public, the public
Right.
also joining them and calling on the president to step down.
They do have two Democrats likely that they look at potential alternatives: Governor Gavin Newsom and then Gretchen Whitmer.
Neither one of them.
No.
Neither one of them.
The other thing I wanted to say is they are humanizing Trump. Whoever his team is are saying, "Don't be a bully anymore, Trump." Like he's not cut. If you notice during the
That's
debate,
smart.
he
That's
wasn't
smart.
cutting off. He wasn't really aggressive and abrasive. He was like, "Oh, okay. Well, it was more Biden becoming aggressive out of that conversation." And he, if the moderators would say something, he was now being real calm. Whoever is instructing Trump, they're telling him now to bring it down, don't be so aggressive, and to be humanized. Because even at the RNC, they're bringing out his grandchildren.
Yeah, they brought up his
they're-
granddaughter. I
Yeah,
heard
they're
her speak,
bringing
yeah.
people out to now humanize them. So now they're taking advantage of the fact that the Democratic Party is being divided as if they're not competent. So now they're playing a game on the defense side to say we're taking advantage of where your weakness is.
So Liberty said that Newsom looks great and is super smooth, but California is a wreck. He can't escape that. And the reason he said that Newsom's huge problem is that California is a financial disaster under Newsom. So Liberty is from California. This is why I say, right, when it comes to what we do, it's very important because people are already have feet on the ground, right? Liberty is there. I'm not speaking for California.
right.
Right. And so to be able to give platform for people to actually be in those spaces and see, Newsom may sound great to us, but in California, they're like, maybe we need to think. Remember we was talking about, we were talking about the prime minister of, where was it? What we was talking about?
Is it Israel?
I can't. No, it wasn't Israel. But
Was it
Canada. We was talking about Canada, and we were saying how much we like the prime. It's the prime minister, right? That's the word. It's prime minister, right? We were saying how much we like the prime minister, but someone commented like, "Yo."
Oh yeah, I remember that
Yeah.
conversation.
When we talked about the guns at one point, I
Was
think
it was
I can't
Justin
remember.
Trudeau.
Yeah, Justin Trudeau. I can't remember what the conversation was about because I don't want to misspeak. But what I will say
Yeah.
is that someone actually commented from who was watching our show from Canada.
And they
Yeah.
said,
And they was
no.
like, no, it's
We
not
here,
that
we-
sweet.
yeah.
We here.
We
We on
live
the
in it,
streets,
right.
right? So it's important for us to allow spaces for people who's truly on them streets to be able to have access and a platform to talk about what's really going on. And that's why we're good at what we do at We Talk Weekly, right? Go ahead.
I'm sorry, were
No,
you
go ahead.
done with your story? Go ahead, you can finish your story.
you want me? Go ahead,
Were you-
comment.
oh, okay.
I didn't even start yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Say what
No,
you
I
were
was
saying.
just-
I'm gonna go into. No, I want you
Okay.
to finish. I want you to finish your statement. So
And we
go.
can come back to this later. I'm just
Right,
gonna
right.
make a comment, but I just feel like the Democrats need to come up with a plan. I know that if they do decide, like, hey, we're gonna if Biden does step down, we're gonna put somebody in. There's not enough time for that person to raise all this money, and then the money that the Biden-Harris administration has is their money. It's not like they can transfer that
Yeah.
to another
What they
candidate.
raised, what
Yeah,
they
exactly.
raised,
That's
right.
their money, and I think they need to come up with a plan, because the other thing too is that people need to. The Democrats need to also continue to bring awareness to this project 2025. And I think all this, he needs to step aside and this and that and the other is taken away from the time that they have to continue to, make people aware of Project 2025. Because it's almost 1,000-page document. Who's going to sit down and read that?
Right. And I think other point that I'm hearing a lot of people talk about from the Democratic Party is that although it's Biden that is not given a good, strong stance as the commander in chief, but we have to understand that the tentacles and the branches that lead to other things within local and state as well are going to, once you pull for, the Republican, even though you're, and I'm not saying that I'm Democrat or Republican. I'm
Right.
just saying that once you pull the lever to Republican, a lot of the things that are in place democratically, like you said, for Project 2025, they automatically are now going to start, pushing them forward based on. So that's why it's so important for the Democrat Party to get a plan to make sure that
get
they
it together.
have a strong front, because Biden ain't it.
Yeah.
He just not, unfortunately. And it's like you're saying that you're gonna vote for somebody who's weak.
Right.
Like how many wars have started under his leadership?
I agree.
However, but the subset underneath of him is strong.
I agree in theory of what you're saying. I think, however, that if they got rid of, we got to remember, we are where we are because Biden is the president. Right?
What do you mean?
In terms of having a position, Biden is the president, right?
Right.
We beat Trump because of Biden, right?
Right.
Correct? Right? That's correct,
Yeah,
right?
that was just the part you were talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
So the reason why we have Biden as the president, because people voted for him.
Mm-hmm.
To put someone else in there that we don't know if the people will like him, we're only speculating by these fictitious polls that a new president might be the best candidate to run the country.
Yeah, and a lot of
So-
these polls. No, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say a lot of these polls are flawed.
Right. So what I'm saying, it may be suicide to remove Biden and Kamala Harris and put someone else in there.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's what I believe, right? And I don't think the country. I mean, I just think that we are so divided with all of this that
Do you
throwing Hail
really
Marys-
think Biden is really running this country?
no, not at all.
So it's like if you put somebody
Not at
else
all.
in there, the policies and stuff are already written.
100%, 100%.
So Biden, to me, I don't even know
Oh,
if he up past 8:00.
Biden is the only president that has gotten so much done in 3.5 years. His, I guess resume, so to speak, for lack of a better word, right now at this point is like, it's incomparable. Like, there's no president that, and I'm not talking eight years, 2 terms. But in this little time, and you can compare, and I'm not saying us, but like people can compare the former president Donald Trump's, what he got done in his 4 years to what Biden got done in his 3.5 years.
I think that more people are. I'm gonna just say this because I agree with you. However, it goes to the point of what someone said earlier, is all of that he has done seems to be hyper liberal, right? And so they're having a problem with those things that he has done that doesn't necessarily support certain demographics.
Well, compare
right?
that to, they can compare that to Trump's
Yeah.
administration of what they got
I'm
done.
not denying that. I'm just giving context.
Right, I know what you're saying.
Right,
Yeah, I know what
that's
you're
it.
saying. Because, and I feel like with each presidency, there's a good, a bad, and a ugly, and people are not going to agree with any president from
100%.
from Bush to Barack Obama to Clinton to even back to Reagan. Like, people are not going to agree 100% with any president does, and what they found is that the American people are, I don't know, the fickle or whatever it is, like they flip flop back and forth, and it just seems like every time there's an election, people are for someone, and then if they're back up again, they're against that person. But it's just, it is what it is.
All right, let's jump right into it. We talking too much. We're going to jump into that. That's why we're going to continue this conversation, ladies and gentlemen.
I love it.
I know. There you
That's
go.
what we
So
do.
Fresh
We
Lake
talk-
Sparkle,
we-
holla at me. Jump into it.
All right, neighbors watched as police investigated the scene in front of 4011 Meriden Street in Philly, where a 7-month-old baby was shot in a drive-by on Thursday evening. Dominique Billups, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, sound good.
Okay.
Yep,
Dominique Billups, 28 of Northeast Philly, was charged with 3 counts of aggravated assault and other offenses in the shooting, which stemmed from a $100 drug debt with the infant's parents. Now follow this. The surveillance video released showed Billups firing 3 shots at close range at the baby's parents. And so she was basically spraying. The shooter reportedly yelled explicit words, and then she fled. The infant was struck in the leg and was taken to the hospital by a nearby resident, but in stable condition. Both parents, who had open warrants, fled the scene. So they left their child, but later cooperated with police. Officers arrested Billups.
They turned themselves in. You said later.
The parents did.
Okay.
But no, Billups, which was the shooter, she actually fled and was later arrested.
Wow.
What was the last name?
Billups, Billups, 28 years old, of Northeast Philly. Last year, 24 children were killed in Philadelphia. Over 160 were shot in the city, with 80 children already shot this year as of July. And now the child is in with Department of Human Services. We talk about trauma.
That's horrible.
You know what I mean?
No, I got you.
7-month-old, but they feel like, oh, that baby's not going to remember. Okay. That baby's going to have memories or
That's a shame.
subconscious, unconscious type of dreams, and like, where are they coming from? You know what I mean? You got what they call infantile amnesia, which usually you can't remember anything from 2 and under. Some people remember 3 and 4 vaguely, but still, it's trauma.
100%.
Our next story, he was a guest on our show as well, Mike Jarrett. A lot of
Mike
people,
Jarrett, okay.
yeah, a lot of people missed him on Good Day Philadelphia. He was missing for a few weeks, but he made a brief appearance with Dr. Mike Sigliano to explain his absence, and he shared his diagnosis of prostate cancer. Yep, he discovered it through a PSA blood test. And
Okay.
we've talked about this
Yeah, I did know
before,
that. Yep.
that when you get, it's called a prostate survey antigen, I believe, they just take blood.
Right.
And they look at your Gleason scores. And basically your Gleason scores are like 1 + 1 is 2, 2
Right.
+ 2 is 4. They want to see how high it is. The higher it is, the more you have that antigen in your blood cells that is cancer. So that's a good preventive measure,
Yeah.
especially if you have, that in your family. Prostate cancer could be in your family, or if you're having symptoms.
Yeah.
Just like women go for their mammogram testing, men should go for PSAs.
Agreed. I did
And
mine.
a lot of times it's food that you eat, or it could be free radicals of living in an environment you didn't even know asbestos was there. You didn't know radioactive stuff was there. All that stuff can be factors.
Right.
Anyway, Mike talked about the surgery, and he underwent robotic prostate removal surgery.
Oh, wow.
And he basically, his co-host Alex Holly was there. He expressed his gratitude to the team, and he's doing well. And he's
Fantastic, yeah.
letting people know, hey, this is we talk about these AI things, and this is one of the good things that these computers and these AI systems, innovative therapy, has taken, huge steps to curing people.
That's right.
It's more people living, which is kind of becoming a problem to a degree, that now you're living longer based on all of the technology we have, because you're able to get preventive measures and diagnose people faster.
And it's okay, ladies and gentlemen. It's about using things as a tool. A tool. You use a hammer to drive a nail. Think of it like that. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. The American justice system, especially the probation system, often unfairly targets black people, trapping them in cycles of incarceration. Well, Philadelphia's rapper Meek Mill's story highlights the issue. After several probation violations, including a 2 to 4 year sentence for popping a wheelie, Meek Mills became a national symbol of this problem. His efforts, along with the Reform Alliance he co-founded, led to the passage of Pennsylvania's Act 44. Are y'all familiar with that?
Yes, ma'am.
This law seeks to ease the harsh rules of probation. This was a big thing because even the judge who was on that case was like, she was giving egregious type of sentencing and you popped a willy. Like, come on. Come on. Basically, it's cutting down on the minor technical violations that often send black people back to jail. Act 44 clarifies that what counts as technical violation limits when jail time can be imposed by these violations and sets maximum penalties, marking a significant step towards a fairer probation system. So not only are they at one time putting people in jail, it was like, okay, now you've done your time, you're getting released, and you're still getting set up to go back. This is where you ask, are some jails privatized as far as monetizing? Like, how much are you getting for each each criminal, each inmate? Because you're setting people to go back, and that doesn't make sense to me. Meek Mill 2018 release from prison was celebrated by many of the music and social justice communities. You guys remember that he used his platform to advocate for criminal justice reform. And he's real passionate about it. He got real emotional, teary-eyed, and hopefully he's, as this reform goes, he's paying it forward.
That's right. That's
So
what's up.
that was your good news and your bad news from your girl, Classy Lady Sparkle.
And that was your good news and bad news by Classy Lady Sparkle. I'm your boy Charles Greg with the beautiful
Lauren Sizzle.
and the beautiful.
Classy Lady Sparkle.
And next up, you already know what we got.
I guess we got the sizzle.
We got the sizzle, ladies and gentlemen.
It's all over the place, so y'all gonna
Shout
get what
out
y'all
there.
get today.
That's all right. It'll still be good.
All right, so let's start with this little mini story. But before we do, make sure you guys subscribe to We Talk Weekly on all social media and major podcast platforms. And if you want to support what we do, you can make a donation on Cash App, $ We Talk Weekly. And guess what? No donation is too great or too small. We like the donation that folds, but we also take the donation that jingles. It just, you know. All right, so Rick Ross is still trolling Drake after Drake posted a video of his flooded Toronto mansion. After Rick Ross saw the video, he had a few things to say about it. He said, he commented one time and said, auction it. You probably get 2 M's, just kind of insinuating that Drake's mansion isn't worth that much. But all of this is coming weeks after Rick Ross was attacked following his performance at a Vancouver concert. For those of you who don't know, Rick Ross had played, during his performance, he had played Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us during the performance. And after walking off the stage, he was greeted by a mob of people who just did not take kindly to, he's in Vancouver, he's in Canada, this is Drake Town, so they just did not take kindly to Rick Ross playing that song. So there's a ton of video that's been, it surfaced and it's all over social media, but it just shows Rick Ross being cornered, him and his small security team being cornered. One person was knocked out, and Rick Ross was kind of roughed up a little bit. And then you had people saying like, Rick Ross got, I'm gonna leave that part out of it, but yeah, it just was crazy. But obviously Rick Ross still is not going completely down without a fight.
That's
Amber
the boss. Go ahead, Spark.
Amber Rose.
Go ahead, Spark.
Huh?
Go ahead, Spark.
like, what is he talking
You
about?
remember that?
You're not gonna do that to me. Like, stop, me. Go ahead, Smart. Go ahead, dance, little man.
Man.
You know, you be like, go ahead, dance, go ahead.
So, Amber Rose, a former Democrat, and we back on this again.
Oh, I saw. Yeah, please tell us about her.
Yes. So, Amber Rose, a former Democrat who came out as bisexual back in 2009, stated, "I realize Donald Trump and his supporters don't care if you're black." Well, let me just backtrack a little bit because, she's battling some major backlash after delivering a speech at the 2024 Republican National Convention in support of Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump. So, if you remember, she did come out as bisexual back in 2009, which in her speech, she stated, "I realize Donald Trump and his supporters don't care if you're black, white, gay, or straight. It's all love." And that's when it hit me. These are my people. This is where I belong. I'm here tonight to tell you, no matter your political background, that the best chance we have to give our babies a better life is to elect Donald Trump, President of the United States. I'm no politician and I don't want to be, but I do care about the truth. And the truth is that the media has lied to us about Donald Trump. I know this because for a long time I believed those lies. So she had some other things to say. But MSNBC's Joy Reid criticized Amber, saying, I don't want to say she's black. And this is what Joy Reid is saying about Amber. She's saying, I don't want to say she's black because she said she's not. So I don't want to say this black woman, this woman, who is of whatever race that she has claimed, she said she's not black, but the RNC brought somebody whose whole career is based on black culture. And Joy Reid, she was basically saying like she doesn't know anyone who takes their political cues from Amber Rose, but just in case you do, you might want to do your research because she didn't do it thoroughly. And Joy also said, the fact that she is now the person you're using to try to recruit young people of color, and to say that this is the person who is the endorser of Donald Trump, who you should trust, when she won't even claim the culture that brought her back to the table. I'm dubious that this will work. So she's just talking about just kind of, I guess, insinuating that the Republicans are using Amber, who is not claiming to be black. She does go claim her biracialness. Don't let Dr. Umar hear that. She does claim her biracialness. So my question is, like, does Amber deserve this backlash?
Yes, 100%. First of all, see, what pisses me off about Amber is that so she goes back to our time, right? South Philly High. And there was a time where she claimed that she was black. Her mom is black. I believe her mom is mixed. Her dad is white. But she would always lean towards the black side and claim her blackness when she was coming up with us, so to speak. Like she is from Philly. A lot of people, she's from Scranton. She is from Philly. Yeah. But we don't.
Does Philly claim her?
Philly don't necessarily. You got some people. I mean, if we being honest,
sounds like an opportunist to me.
That's the problem. That's what people have a problem with, because you want to claim Philly when it's necessary, when you want the cred from it. You want to claim your black side when you got the cred from it, right? You want to claim you're standing in how hood you are when you got the cred from it. Now, you on the other side, and you don't even want to claim that you're black anymore. You went from biracial to now literally claiming that you're white, so to speak, which is a problem. It shows how fake you are. And so that's what I got a problem with her. Like, if you, Like it's okay to be mixed. It's okay to be biracial. It's okay to be biracial, right?
But not the flip flop.
But not the flip flop. Stand on your
When it's
position.
convenient.
Right. So that makes me believe what you're doing is a flip flop. That's why I have a problem.
And just for conversation too, I don't know where that I claim biracial, biracial family members. You're black.
You're black.
And
Yes, 100%.
I know it's going to be a shift maybe years down the line, but Amber, right now you're considered a black woman. You're
She don't
looked
consider
upon-
herself a-
She doesn't,
Yeah.
but the world does.
Right.
And if you looked at how she looked at the art, let me pull this picture up.
Right. And the people were saying that, like, I don't know. I don't think
She
I
didn't
get
look
my
like a black.
advice.
Yeah. She,
Go ahead.
She didn't look like how she looked when she was on what is it, high school? What is it? What's the reality show she was on?
Where Jocelyn told her all.
Yeah.
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 I
She
can't
said, "No,
remember.
you don't want to be black."
Yeah. There you go. And everyone, shout out to Jocelyn because it's as crazy as people deem her to be. She was 100% accurate talking to Amber Rose during that time.
They
So
fought.
kudos to her.
They wound up
Kudos to
fighting
Jocelyn.
about
I
that.
love you, Jocelyn. Kudos, girl. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And it was a few people, of course, that were saying like, oh, she should be able to vote the way she vote, and everybody is
true.
allowed to vote the way they vote. I don't think anybody should get any backlash because they choose
I
to
agree with
vote
that.
with a certain party. But I think when it comes to black culture, because they brought her out and said like she's a rapper influencer,
Wrong and wrong. Wrong and wrong.
which is rap is what culture?
It's
It's
black,
black
culture,
culture.
period. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
And-
even Eminem will sit and say that I'm white, but I give homage to black culture of hip hop. That's why Eminem deserved the accolades that most black people, all we want is credit. We just
Right.
want our credit. Just acknowledge it. Acknowledge the F stuff that you did. Right? And we all right with it. The problem we have is when they start denying, oh, that's not yours. We
Right.
stole that, but it's not yours, right? That type of thing, right? So all we want is the credit and the accolades for what we did, what we deserve. You give that to us and we cool. That's why reparations is so important. But go ahead. I'm gonna
Absolutely.
jump off of that.
Yeah, and you know, just to close it out with, a lot of people had problems that you know the everything that Project 2025 stands for, and then
That she bit. Go ahead.
the Republicans are pro-life, and people were saying she is not, and the Republicans are
If you
anti-LGBTQ.
yeah.
And she came out as bisexual. So people were just comparing, you know, those things and just kind of calling her out on that.
Yeah.
All right, so the celebrity sizzle of the day goes to Rihanna. Rihanna has announced that Fenty Beauty has partnered with the Paris Olympics and Paralympics. The Paris Olympics is going to run July 26th through August the 11th. And then the Paralympics is going to be starting August 28th through September 8th. But Rihanna posted the announcement saying, tried to tell y'all we outside 2024. And she shared a photo of her in front of the Eiffel Tower holding a huge adult height size lip gloss. And then according to the press release, the Fenty Beauty is going to give makeup kits and tutorials to 600 volunteers between the ages of 18 and 21, and they're going to present medals at the games. So there's kits and things that's going to be given out, which includes a lot of products from the Fenty Beauty line, the Gloss, Balm, Universal Lip Luminizer, and all this good stuff that's going to go out. So shout out to her. This is huge for her line. So, so I'm your girl, Lauren Sizzle, and that was the Sizzle.
That was your sizzle, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your boy, Charles Gregory, the beautiful.
Lauren Sizzle.
The beautiful.
Classy Lady
This is
Sparkle.
We Talk Weekly's After the Talk on WPP MLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We Talk Weekly's After the Talk, and that's our show, ladies and gentlemen.
A great show.
Yeah, we got about 6 minutes left. And so, if I'm gonna just say this, whatever issue topics that you have or whatever position that you stand on as it relates to politics. It's okay. Don't let anyone bully you into believing you have to lean on one side or another. Believe what you believe, have some morals, have some ethics, and vote that way. And vote that way.
And do your research
Yeah, there you
on
go.
both parties.
Yeah.
Or even if it's independent, do your research. And also do your research as to if you do not show up to the polls, what are the repercussions of those actions as well.
Can you guys enlighten me? I don't know much about what happened as far as the sniper, like the young guy who did it. Did they find out more information?
I
Like,
found a lot of
They've
information. Yeah.
And
they
I
did? Oh,
Go ahead.
Yeah, and I just feel like when it comes to him, to that sniper, Thomas, I can't think of his last name right now, but I just feel like what they were expecting to find, they really did not find, because they were combing through his social media and they didn't find much about, because usually there's signs, and I think they were looking for signs that he's, posting extremist stuff and
Oh,
he's
you
saying
talking
these
about like
different
that.
things.
Right,
Yeah, and they didn't find that, but they did find that he was a registered Republican. I think he did donate some money
Biden.
to Act Blue at one point,
A
$15.
substantial. They said a substantial amount. So I'm hearing a lot of different.
Oh, I initially heard
positions.
15, so I don't know if they found other donations after that. But then he was a part of the honor society. He was bullied in school. He was a loner.
typical.
Typical signs of, I
Did
guess.
he have
someone-
like a letter or anything, journals or?
I don't think they found any of that yet.
So has his parents been interviewed or?
Well, the father, as far as I've heard, he's cooperating. I know that the day of the shooting, the young man did ask his father, who was on the rifle society or the rifle team at his school. He was on it, but he was trying to get on it or something like that. But they said he was a bad shot, so he wasn't selected. But he wanted to go to rifle practice, so he did ask his dad to borrow his rifle. So the dad gave it to him. And then I guess when he didn't come home or anything, and then the dad started hearing all this stuff on the news, he called the police and then learned about what was happening.
So I pulled up, this is news18.com. So I'm reading from news18.com.
News18.com.
That's what it says. So I didn't vet any of this, but you can kind of go here. So I'm giving you the source. So you know where it's coming from. So it says 1 in a million sniper shot drone surveillance. New details emerge in Trump assassination bid. He says U.S. law enforcement officials have revealed that Thomas Matthew Crooks, which was the shooter, the man who attempted to assassinate former President Donald Trump at a campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, had flown a drone over the event grounds earlier that day.
I did hear that.
Right. Crooks 20 conducted surveillance at the Butler farm shown fairgrounds on July 13 before Trump appearance. The Wall Street Journal reported officials indicated that Crooks had meticulously planned the attack, starting his research on July 3rd, shortly after the event was announced. He reportedly registered for the rally on July 7th and visited the site days later to scope it out. Interesting. The fatal shot ended Crooks. I just was reading. So y'all can kind of go here. I'm not going to read everything because it's pretty long, but I'll read this last paragraph. The fatal shot ended Crooks' attempt was described as a 1 in a million shot, Fox News reported, citing an insider familiar with the probe. The report said that a Secret Service counter sniper hindered by the roof's lip managed to hit Crooks with a single shot, which was cool. It was a good shot. However, the local tactical team missed their target. Crooks was observed pacing next to a warehouse building as a crowd gathered for Trump's rally. So apparently people were seeing this guy and they gave the information and they just ignored it.
So, and that's,
Well,
I think, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, I think this is where Liberty Twitcher was talking about with the liberalism. Like, it's, when have we ever had our security so lax? Why? This is the U.S. Like
Yeah.
it was a lax system for security, and you had 2 presidents there. One former president, Trump was a former president, and one current president. Like this just should have been like Fort Knox. It's always we have to do something after. It's like, why don't we think about preventive measures opposed to let's take medication after we've already been sick? Now it's going to just be like a 9/11. Oh, we're going to make sure every time. But you know what I'm saying? Like there were 2 presidents in this arena, and you let somebody come through. Like, what does that say to our securities?
Yeah, I mean, I had my own little theory on this, and I kind of think like what happened was, because they had the Secret Service that was within the arena of the rally and all that, and then that separate location was like the staging area for local police and local authorities. And when it comes to, and I don't know much about Butler, PA, but when it comes to like local authorities, how some areas have like a small township, they have a small police force. Now, if this had been Philly, Philly would have had that area tight because we have a huge police force within the city, and I think the Secret Service probably assumed that I feel like there wasn't like a tight connection there, because the Secret Service probably was assuming that like they, local, they have their job, they got that, they're over there and they're handling it.
Right.
But I feel like they were.
And that's the whole point. You see it in so many movies that it's the small counties, it's the small this. Oh, we don't need to really worry about it. It's the bigger cities that we need to. No, that's where you always get, that's where you get got. In the parts where you feel as though you don't even need to be that concerned.
And you have those people that are looking for just that tiny breach where they can get in and do something.
Because I saw where the snipers were up there, and it's like,
they had their eye on him for 20 minutes.
right, but he shouldn't even got a shot off. People died. There was casualties there. There was collateral damage
It's horrible.
there.
It's horrible. I don't condone any type of violence on any political landscape at all. It's just
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your boy Charles Gregory with the beautiful
Lawrence
and the beautiful.
Classy Lady Sparkle.
And we out here, y'all. This is We Talk Weekly After the Talk, WPP Mount P, Philadelphia 106.5. Listen, We Talk Weekly After Talk. We out of here. Peace.
all of our amazing shows, our interviews, and event coverage. Follow We Talk Weekly on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and subscribe to our newsletter on our website, WeTalkWeekly.com.